A couple things we need to make sure that you are good with so that you can be successful today is, remember, we're going to use negative b over 2a. Remember, b is 12, so we're going to use negative 12 over 2 times negative 3, coming from the x squared, so it's negative 12 over negative 6, so it's 2. That means x is 2. The vertex is going to start with 2, we need the other half, so that means we're going to plug it in. Negative 3, 2 squared, plus 12 times 2, plus 1. So that's 4 times negative 3, it's a negative 12, plus 24 plus 1, plus 24 plus 1. Remember, these are always going to be half of each other. So here's 12 plus 1 to get 13. We were only required to get the axis of symmetry and the vertex. And the only extra information that we could point out is we should get 0, 1 is part of our graph as well when we go to graph it. Let's try it again, negative b over 2a. So that's negative 4 over top of 2 times 2, so it's negative 1. 2, negative 1 squared plus 4 times negative 1 minus 1. So it turns into positive 1. So 2 minus 4 minus 1 is negative 2 minus 1, or negative 3. So let's get caught up on the required information here. X came out to be negative 1. So the vertex was negative 1. We plugged it in and we got negative 3. And if we wanted another point, I would use 0 along with negative 1 from the equation, the c value. 11. You would think this isn't going to be too bad. Negative b over 2a, because I see 9 over 2 times 3. But notice what happens. I get 3. Well, let's start here. It's Monday. 9 over 6, so I get 3 over 2. You may use 1.5. I'm going to continue working with you to review how to deal with those fractions. Okay, so this was kind of the tougher one of what's going on here. I think the other ones divide nicely. So 3, I get 3 halves squared minus 9 times 3 halves plus 2. So we're going to sub it in. You may use 1.5 in your calculator. I have 9 fourths, square the top, square the bottom, times 3 over 1. I have 27 fourths minus 27 halves plus 2. So this 27 fourths, 27 halves, we're going to multiply this one by 2 to get 4, and this by 2 to get 54. It gives me negative 27 fourths plus 2. Okay. So at this point, we want to convert our negative 27 fourths into its equivalent fraction. So how close can we get? We can get 6, so negative 6 and 3 fourths, because it would be 24, plus 2, so negative 4 and 3 fourths, or that would be 0.75 if you were on your calculator. Okay, so same process, just having to work with that fraction inside there. 14, oh wait, last part, the 0 would pair with 2. Number 14, negative b over 2a is 16 over 2 times negative 4. So we get 16 over negative 8. X came out to be negative 2. The vertex starts with negative 2. We're going to plug it in. Negative 4, negative 2 squared minus 16 times negative 2 n minus 3. Negative 2 squared is positive 4. So I'm going to get negative 16 here, plus 32 minus 3, plus 32 minus 3. Positive 16 minus 3 is 13. The extra ordered pair I need when I graph is 0 paired with negative 3. Again, that's coming from this value right here on the end. And 15, negative b over 2a, negative 1/2. X came out to be negative 1/2. Alright, so we can use negative 0.5 if you want. I'm going to plug it in as 1/2 to continue working with fractions. 6, negative 1/2 squared plus 6 times negative 1/2 minus 5. Minus 5 is going to stay. Negative half of 6 is negative 3. That means this is going to become 1/4 of 6. Okay, so that's 6 fourths, or 3 halves minus 3 minus 5. these are half of each other, right? This is actually a 1.5, so I'm going to have negative 1.5 minus 5 to give me negative 6.5. We're going to use that along with 0 paired with negative 5. So this is all the information we need to be able to graph it. And that's what we're working towards today. So last thing for your round table, I do want you to take this information and graph it. So how would I do that, even if it's a fraction? Well, I'm going to go negative 1/2 and down 6.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I know to split this difference here. This is my axis of symmetry right down the middle. And 0, negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's me right here. And the reflection of it. So I'm going to mark it out to 2, but notice I don't need to go that far. We just have to go up 1.5 and to the right 1/2, and also its reflection if we were to fold it over. So this really quick movement, some things you already know. A, way back in the beginning, was positive 6. It opens up, and it should look pretty tall as we graph it. So in your round table, the last thing we're going to do is add on the actual graph, and that's how we do it. Plot your points. Okay, so we're going to start with the vertex, add in the axis of symmetry right down the middle, and then use your y-intercept to make a graph. Double check with the a value. That's it. I'll see you tomorrow.